Good morning, everybody. My name's David Brody with Socialize Communications Inc. We have another interview, and I'm really excited about this one because I think it's extremely timely. Shawn is with us from Tumii Transformations. Welcome, Shawn. Um, the
Morning.
reason the reason I'm excited about this one is because Shawn's company is a transformation specialist company, really, right, Shawn?
That's right.
Give
Yes,
me a
digital
little
transformation.
digital transformation. Give me a little bit of background about yourself. Let's hear a little bit about your company, and then we could talk about, a little bit more, and see how we could potentially help businesses out there.
Absolutely. So thank you for your time, David, and Socialize. My company. I've been in digital transformation for the past 20 years. So right now I'm the CEO founder of Tumii Transformations, and I've worked in municipal government, in the energy sector, financial, retail, servicing organizations, Fortune 500 organizations, and helping thousands of people transition to new ways of working. But where it all started was in the municipal government. I was a developer at the time, a programmer, and we had a new platform to transition to allow people to manage their documents online. Of course, there's a change to the process and culture as well. I worked with them for about 6 months to a year, and in the beginning, there was a lot of resistance. They're very used to paper, manually filing, and within their office locations, they had filing cabinets lining the walls. And when they spoke of the ability to hard time searching for information, having to rekey it into systems, make copies, and then look at things like scanning, which seemed state of the art new for them. So, in working with them and helping them learn how to work online, transition their information, reshape their business processes and do what they do, but to leverage the technology and do it faster, and then help them take ownership of that experience. Um, the resistance that might have been there in the beginning, a little bit of skepticism about can we really do this, was amazing to see where they became. They're completely online, well before its time, and
Good.
this was like this is 2001, well before its time, and they became a complete paperless office. I remember people coming to me in tears saying, "We've worked like this for the past 20 years. This is amazing, outstanding." Some of them are my closest friends today. I'm telling you this little bit of a diatribe, this story here, because that one experience has been the catalyst through my entire career. At the end of the day, I just want to help organizations understand that they can work quicker, easier, and more effectively, leveraging the tools around them and learning how to collaborate with our team members really from anywhere.
Okay, good.
And that's really been a strong impetus for my entire career.
Okay, so you've had quite a lot of experience, different industries, government sector, helping them go online, helping them transition into more effective processes. Very interesting. And as I said at the start of this, very timely. Right now we are seeing one of the biggest evolutions or crazy times, however you want to look at it, that we've ever seen in our lifetime, our parents' lifetime. It's really unprecedented. Businesses are having to shift. Businesses are having to pivot. They're having to adjust. They're having to take all the old ways they did business and change. And what are the biggest problems are you seeing with any businesses that you're working with right now in respects to the problems they're facing as of today?
Yes, uh, this current pandemic we're going through has been incredibly painful, as well as a potential silver lining towards change. First and foremost, our primary concern is the health and um, happiness of both our families and our friends
Of course.
and society in general. But of the things that I've been seeing and some of my clients I've been working with, number one, just the ability, almost a shock to the system, that's now I have to continue to be productive, but do it from home. How do I log in? How do I? Where are my documents stored? Can I connect to to my desktop or to our backend systems? How do I collaborate with my team online? Some of my clients this week, just getting them used to things like logging into Zoom, or in one case WebEx, also logging into Teams, how to open my screen and open a video. So those are some of the initial
Mm.
things. And now, because it's been a few weeks, getting deeper with some of my clients in give you a quick example. They have a database and some files that they use to manage their contacts. Within the course of a week, we're able to not only transition them to a CRM platform, but also do the data cleanup exercise, which they felt for years has been a daunting experience. I was able to get in and help them and show them how to streamline it. We banged it out in 2 days.
Wow.
And now they have an online repository for their customers, enabling them to engage and do email blasts and stuff, and coordinate with their clients online. The other thing I'm seeing is from a social aspect, because before, we might look at our look a couple cubicles down or the next office next to us to engage with our team members. Now it's about recreating that experience online. Um, by engaging in chats, opening, and having, and I've helped shape some of these online social things, like everyone wear funny hats one day, or we log in during a lunchtime and we do an online lunch meeting, the 3 o'clock stretch time, things like that to
Okay.
maintain that connectivity, regardless of the fact that we're working remotely.
So it's interesting, lots of problems, but the solutions are out there. A lot of companies are recognizing that. On the marketing side of things for our company, we had that first week about what I guess it's 2.5 weeks ago, having those conversations and seeing how companies are reacting to the changes that were happening on a daily basis was quite amazing. The way we saw it on a marketing front end side was communications and marketing really has become one of the most prevalent parts of a business, because if your voice is not heard, it's going to be hard to stay alive in this climate. So it's quite interesting to see what you're doing for companies, and then on the flip side, what we're doing for companies. Put it together, you're now able to attract clients on the front end and able to service them on the back end. The one thing that you brought up, which is interesting, is the database management. And this is something that I see with so many clients that have these big databases. They're maybe a little stale, they may be a little outdated, maybe they haven't been communicated with in a while, but they have these extensive databases that are just sitting there and not properly managed. And this is one of the biggest hindrances to marketing effectively, to retaining clients effectively, and to discovering opportunities effectively, right? So very interesting. It's amazing how fast you are able to help companies transition, like you said. So I love hearing that. Shawn, talk to us about what resources are out there for companies right now. What are the top couple of resources that you would maybe point a company in that direction? What would you suggest for them?
Sure, no problem. Um, so in terms of overall office productivity, first thing I consider is how we create documents, how we send emails, track data. So a couple of platforms come to mind. Number one is Office 365. So they've grown up quite a bit from their early days of Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and now Office 365 is an online experience that connects all of those worlds together. Plus, there's a lot of really strong automation features built within, and it's remote. It has video chats and online streaming, and so forth. The second one along the lines of office productivity is G Suite, Google product. More customization involved, but also accessible online, very powerful, and interconnects your world of the common applications we use for day to day. I know earlier we mentioned about CRM, so there's a couple that come to mind in that vein of thinking too. Um, be it Monday.com, that provides an integrated experience of the customer relationship, the tracking, and the distribution. Um, Mailchimp is quite powerful. Constant Contact, Maximizer as well are all pretty powerful tools
Amazing.
specific to CRM.
Good, good, good. And in respects to figuring out which one, I guess, you have to figure out the needs first, and then, kind of work from there, because they tend to have a lot of functionality. I know I've worked a little bit with Salesforce in the past, and
Mhm.
it's quite daunting to see, first of all, what it's capable of doing, which is great. But if you don't know what you're doing, you do need a little bit of guidance. I recognize that pretty fast, that, it's not as easy as click, click, click. But, it could be, but the thing is, if you want these programs working to the best of their ability, I find for the most part, you do need a specialist to come in, make sure that it is being set up correctly, and that the employees are using it to the best of their ability. So
Absolutely. Yes. The size of the organization is really the one of the key indicators to what type of software platform would make the most sense, right?
right, right,
Salesforce is definitely something I've seen and I've worked with and I've integrated with in the marketplace. Typically for organizations in the thousands or tens of thousands, Salesforce has been an incredibly strong platform for
right.
CIM. Dynamics also in that vein of thinking. Microsoft Dynamics is incredibly powerful for larger size organizations. So, yep,
That's it.
completely
That's
agree.
great. Maybe, a good idea is doing a bit of a video on a breakdown of those softwares, and helping businesses that way. I think it could be great. So, we're seeing how some businesses are operating now. Some obviously are having a lot of trouble, obviously, if you're retail. Um, and as we navigate this, what do you think the future holds for us when it comes to how businesses are going to operate? You think we're all going to go back to the way things were? Is this giving those businesses a little bit of a push to saying, hey, if you haven't changed yet, now's the time? Where do you think we're going after this?
Oh, across several veins, there's a few pillars that come to mind. Um, Number one is around business continuity. Um, things like emergency planning, business continuity planning, even and then identifying risks both in the short term and the long term and impact has been something that organizations are rethinking. How are we going to survive? How are we going to resume business? If we experience anything like this again, how do we maintain operations and survive this type of crisis that we're currently experiencing? So
Yeah.
continuity has and will be a main force going forward. The other thing is productivity. Um, lev- Now the realization is set in. Just because we're physically distant from each other, um, we can still be productive. The tools are out there, the automation, the processes, the ability to take a form in, extract the data, push it into downstream systems. This technology has been around for my entire career. This is the kind of work that I've been doing. And now that this social distancing is our current state, it's the recognition or realization that, oh, actually we can work online, we can auto process and do connected data across systems, and overall save time, cost, and overall efficiency. So there might be this might be a pilot in some respects to organizations, but going back to the office, you realize no, this pilot in hindsight actually will help us save money and ultimately deliver better service to our customers.
Right.
The final thing there is along the compliance and the management of data, um, the management of records. Um, if your core records, your vital records, are all centralized in one location, it makes it incredibly hard to say if something happened to that information. So rethinking where our records are stored and how they're stored versus physically having them in an offsite storage or in a file room, reconsideration of moving it online, moving it into the cloud, so that I can access it from everywhere, and ensuring that the information is being retained cleanly and sustainably for regulatory and compliance purposes.
So it's interesting, and I agree with you 100% that these transformations are going to take place now. They are going to last because, businesses, like you said, are facing these obstacles that they've never faced before. And I'm sure they are now getting systems and processes in place where, they're able to continue on with that work, like you said, that that
Continuity.
continuing of business is so important, so prevalent, and really, no matter what is happening around, how do you stay the course? On the marketing side, which I like to also bring it back, it ties into the same thing. So I think, this is just my opinion. After this is all done, consumers will have changed the way that they are consuming, I guess would be the right way of saying it, where way more stuff is going to be done online. We're already seeing it for the last couple of years. People are making their purchases online. Amazon is the biggest company ever. Things are adjusting. I'm seeing in the financial services sector, people being able to provide service and value to their clients from the comfort of their home, not having to meet physically. This is something that's going to be a little bit more of the norm. And I think people are going to get to a point where, if they don't have to necessarily do that in person, they might just be shifting to that online. So if you are a business out there and you're listening to this, there's two things you got to be thinking about. One is, do you have effective marketing strategies in place to be educating, to be discussing, to be communicating with your audience, to attract them to either buy your products or services? Two, when you do attract them and they do maybe drop off their email or start a purchase, but maybe don't go through, how effectively are you managing that information that is being brought to you? So marketing is attract, get them to do one of two things. One, maybe leave their information. Two, maybe buy the product or service. Once they're there, how are you managing that information? So just like Shawn said, effectively what companies should be doing is have a CRM. An email comes in, a lead comes in, this should be populated into your CRM and then fed out to your sales staff or however you want to build that process. And then on the other side, what Shawn is talking about, which is I think so important, and all businesses should be looking at this, is, going forward, do you have the back end systems to make this easy and efficient? And even if you're starting from scratch, if you start the right way and you have the right systems, softwares, processes in place, your job and your business becomes a little easier to manage because of this, right, Shawn? And that's, the golden time that we live in is technology is in abundance. We have these amazing softwares that, streamline things. For us, all our employees are working remotely, so we do lean on quite a lot of different softwares, technology, Slack, Sana, our CRM, which needs a little bit of a boost, I think, by you, Shawn. So,
Hmm.
these kind of things are very important for businesses to be thinking about if they want to stay, current, if they want to stay able to really operate in the new world that we're living in and the new world we're going to be living in, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, that end-to-end service that's being offered. Um, over years, might have just been the cost of doing business, but now you'll find the rethinking of are there areas for to create efficiency within that. So are we just acknowledging the fact that sometimes we have to do rework, sometimes we spend time searching for information or transporting it to other locations, um, or overworking processes. There's areas of waste within our end-to-end service offerings that the tools, the processes, and the methodology have been in place for a long time, and there will be a research or rethinking of how to leverage these techniques to take your end-to-end service and cut out the areas of waste and streamline it, leveraging the tools and best practices that are available to us today.
Yeah, and really just last point before we wrap things up, with technology and everything we're talking about, what's amazing, like on the marketing side that we're seeing is, you take a marketing spend of $500 and you could like really break it down to how many clicks you got, how many phone calls you got, how many leads you
Mm.
got, and then you filter it back into your systems and you're tracking, okay, my marketing spend was X, of which I got this amount of contacts, this amount of clients, and my ROI was such. And if you replicate that and build out the strong systems processes, you become successful, really, and it allows you to do so. And it really doesn't matter for the most part, what your business is. Obviously, if you're retail, it's still marketing, it's still that front end. How much marketing am I doing to get people in the door? But as of right now, you can't do that. So, you know, your objectives now shift is, how am I building my database? Is my database being managed effectively? Of that database, how am I communicating with them? How am I marketing to them? And then, you know, are we converting and all that kind of great stuff. But in the back end, you're making sure that your team is taking that data and translating it into business, which is always one of the main objectives. So I
Hmm.
think, you know, this has been a great first talk. Shawn, I think you have talked a lot about what you do and the problems that you could solve at Tumii Transformations. And
Hmm.
me and Shawn have been working now for a couple of months, and I've seen his work firsthand, and it's quite amazing to have a resource like that. I've seen a lot of businesses try to tackle certain problems on their own, and they tend to spin their wheels, waste time, waste money, waste employees' time, and then go back to square one and now reach out to a third party company like Shawn's and, you know, get it done in a week, and away you go. So, you know, as a business owner, you got to be thinking now very strategically. What are you doing right now? Do you have systems in place? If you don't have the right systems in place and you've been questioning it for a while, you know, get in touch with Shawn. He has a lot of great, he has a fantastic team first and foremost, but great solutions as well to help you. And if it's not even a specific solution, it's really Shawn's expertise to help, you know, put everything together. A lot of businesses do need that. We're seeing it, and I think a lot of businesses are feeling it. So, you know, again, this is going to be, I think, a first conversation with Shawn, because I think he has a lot of insight into best practices. So I do want to thank you, Shawn, for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I look forward to working with you. And I think, you know, if you need marketing on the one side, you got socialized communications. If you need to build in your back end and your CRMs, you got Shawn on the other end. So we, you know, we are able to provide quite a full service to you. So again, thank you guys. We wish you nothing but health and happiness through these hard times. We are here. If you have any questions, if you are a business owner or are facing any problems, you know, please comment below and we could chime in on maybe potentially helping or just discussing how to navigate that problem. Thanks so much, guys. Keep well, be safe, and we'll see you soon.